We are in the process of building the future.
Rangers never bluff.
We have lost much, endured much, sacrificed greatly.
Zathras knew you would come.
I think I'll stick my head in the station's fusion reactor.
Life's full of mysteries. Consider this one of them.
If you go to Zahadu, you will die.
Well, seeing as how ours is muted and I have control of the voice and the volume, we are back for another Babylon 5 discussion. And with that, we have Keith, who I will unmute because I have the power. Monkey Jeebus, as always. Kate, the Rowan Ginger Raven. Adega, the Pun Outlaw. And we have a new person joining us today because memes will eventually show up when the lunch table ends. We have Arwen Avalon, who I just muted again, who I'm trying to unmute and I can't mute. Oh, they mute themselves. But other than that, Arwen, you can unmute. There you go. It's okay. It's okay. And with that, hi guys and girls.
Hello.
How's everyone doing today?
Hey y'all.
Special.
Pretty good.
Arwen.
Hi.
Hi. This is the most awkward intro I've ever done in my life. All right. This is cool. And with that, we have a new member to the channel. Thank you very much, Chris Cook, for becoming a member. I couldn't do it before, but I can do it now. We have the stream element. I don't care about you. We have Shane Nolan, who's back. Hey, everyone. And, of course, Mr. Tickle Trunk is putting on that lipstick, especially for Keith. And, of course, we have a new other member, Spirian. Hello, and how are you all doing? We have 9 people in the chat, and where do we want to start first, unless there's some breaking news? This is a fantastic opening. I'm having so much fun right now. I'm going to throw Keith up there first. How are you guys all doing?
Look, I'm all right. You know, I'm experiencing one of those things where I've got 20 things that have just been thrown right at me, unlike the normal 10. So I'm a little scattered right now, but all right.
So it's not menopause.
Wow, the menopause blast. Wow. Okay.
I was going to go with hot flashes, but I don't see you picture like dressed up like Mrs. Doubtfire over a stovetop, like Robin Williams. But yeah, all right, yeah, let's just do this. Honestly, we had Soulmates this week, as well as a Race Through Dark Places, which was very telepath oriented. If we're going to go on the wide range of both episodes, and where do you want to start first with Soulmates? Let's start with, did you guys like this episode? And Keith, we'll throw you first.
I did. Overall, this is one of those episodes where it's part of that laying the groundwork for future episodes, or in this case, a previous episode, but also having that storyline just sort of weave its way through. And to me, this episode is more in keeping with what is going to happen on Babylon 5.
Yeah.
And namely a plot point within the final season, the 5th season. All of this episode will become really important, or at least you'll see a lot of this again. And I like that. You know, I like the consistency. I like dealing with the telepaths. In fact, again, as I've said before, they were going to be the main focus of J. Michael Straczynski's Babylon 5 movie that he wanted to make for the big screen. And I'm still waiting for that because I'd like to see it. So, anyone else?
Well, let's go down the road then. And well, since I messed up the whole rotation, and there we go. All right, Kate, you're up next. Then Adega, then Monkey Jeebus, and then I'm sorry for putting you on the bottom, Keith. That's misogyny. We'll have Arwen. So go ahead, Kate.
I like this one. I think it starts out a little slow. Some punchlines, but slow. And I don't know. The telepaths don't interest me at all. I think maybe it's because what's her face is so dry and boring. Like, she's just whiny. She whines all the time. Everything is whining.
Are you talking about Talia Winters?
Yeah, she's a whiner.
Deanna Troy of Babylon 5. That's what she
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
She's so girly. She's like, ah!
No, it's not even girly. It's that she's a whiner. She's just, everything is a problem, and if it's not her way, it's a problem. It's boring to me. So I don't really get in, so I'm not convinced that the whole, at this point in the series, that they're worthwhile with the Psi Corps. Other things going on, I think, were more interesting comparatively, but that's fine. So,
Jiggle Trunk says if Deanna Troy smoked, I think she needs to start. I can kind of agree because I can agree with you though that Kate on a certain aspect. Like when she comes up on screen, I'm just like, the only time I like watching it is when she's getting hit on by Garibaldi. Other than that,
that's because he's funny.
Yeah, but it's so when you're looking at her though, and she's talking, she's either being very apologetic or being very snappy, but she doesn't really have much depth as a character.
Right. Yeah, she just whines about everything.
Have you seen my wharf? I'm looking for it. Has anyone seen my wharf? That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
My wharf.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, okay, well then. Daga, what about you, man?
Well, I did this thing with Joe when we went through Dark Matter, and we got introduced to a lot of actors and actresses, and something about her that is unusual. Most really good actors, if you watch them, they use their eyes. They use the way their forehead, the eyebrows, their face to make impressions on the audience without even saying a word. Her face doesn't change, so she has to do her acting through her whiny voice. That's the only way she can get it out. I don't think she's very good at it. And that's why a lot of people look at her and go, this is kind of hard to watch. It's that person that you don't want to associate with because all they do is complain, and that's the only way she can get her acting out.
Well, I do think she got better in her career in other shows. I also think she was kind of hampered by what she knew of her character, what JMS revealed was going on, and what her character's secret is. And in that respect, I can kind of see some of that. I can kind of see some of these decisions that have been made. Because I do agree with you to have any actress do this is kind of sabotage, and unless this is part of something that you're trying to do, an experiment with trying to get the story out. And I've over the years have come to believe that more and more, that this was part of that. So.
Well, look at her eyes. If you change the way her mouth is without changing her eyes, it's very, very similar to each line. So that was kind of my point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to picture why.
Okay, but in defense, it's the 90s. No one has eyebrows. She has hooded eyes. Makeup doesn't work. There's some other things that just might not be in their favor. And she's a natural platinum blonde, so she also doesn't have eyebrows. Like, that's just the way it goes. So give her a break a little bit. Like, no one was upset for her. Compared to now, there would be much more significant expression. So I don't think it's necessarily that she's just super deadpan. It's that the writing is like, but I grew up this way. It's all I know, and you have to listen to me.
No offense to the Psi Corps jacket, but every time I see it, it's like she's about to like just break it off like Demi Moore in striptease, and it's gonna turn into Showgirls for some strange reason. I don't know why.
Oh my god!
You have problems?
What?
It's a good thing that you're off camera.
Yeah. I don't strip for nobody.
You'd
Why
be
does her
working for
throat have
CNN.
abs, though? I'm still trying to figure out why her throat has abs.
Because she's tiny, and
Oh, okay.
that's what happens when you're a small woman. There's nothing else there. It's not like a dude.
All right. So, and with that, Mr. Turkish says, I heard that Andrea Thompson replaced Patricia Tallman because the studio didn't think a redhead would pull as many eyes as a blonde. Can't confirm, but can believe.
That was later. The psychic that comes along later is fake, dude. That's like they only do the top hair. It's like in that '70s show. What's her face? I don't know the actress name that plays Donna. Her hair's jet black.
Laura Prepon.
Yeah, her hair's jet black, and they lighten the underneath and then put red on the top enough to convince you that she has red hair, but it's not real, dude. At all.
I'm sorry, Day, were you done with yours, or did you still have more to add before we move on? I think you fell asleep.
Who?
You.
Me?
Yeah, I was asking, did you have any more to add about this before we moved on to the next person?
Well, I didn't fall asleep. I just heard a different name than what you said. I guess I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. That's a bill that's a little too expensive for me sometimes. Paying attention.
Pardon?
Exactly. No, I didn't have anything else. It's just that I just think she's at this point in her career, she wasn't very good of an actress.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was dull, and I'll go.
She was outclassed by the entire cast. They were all better than her by a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Vorlon.
Yeah, and the suit.
Yes.
I have to admit, I was kind of a little put off by the fact that Patricia Tallman wasn't part of the cast either. But then changes were made, things happened, the story went a particular way, and I'm thinking that, I mean, now all you people, everyone here knows that Patricia Tallman wasn't just an actress, right? You guys do realize that during this time period, yeah, she was a stunt woman, and where did she do a lot of her stunts?
Star Trek.
That's right. She was a really in-demand Star Trek stunt woman, and she did a lot of stunts during this particular period for Trek, who paid a lot more. So that's the reason why I think she left the show, because she was getting paid a lot to do stuff. In fact, for DS9, she was the lead stunt woman for. She was the actual stunt woman for stand-in for what's her name, who played Kira.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean it's talked about. I mean, if you were to ask Patricia Tallman now, who is on social media, and you can ask her questions, yeah, she talks about that.
I'm not going to ask her after what we just said. I think it's kind of mean. I'll wait a week.
Well, I mean,
Can't act, or I mean, if it's early in her acting career, then it's not like it's a bad thing to critique it. It's just life. I'm sure they can handle it.
Well, given what they decided to do with Talia, I'm actually kind of glad that Patricia Tallman wasn't on the show, because if they had done this with her character, I really would have been disappointed.
I agree.
You know, what they have planned for Talia is really a really cool twist, and I like it, but I like it for that particular character.
I agree.
So,
yeah. All right. What about you, Jeebus?
She's kind of about the whole episode or just her?
Did you like the episode? No, the whole.
Oh,
you got off track. No, it's about the episode. Did you like it? Yes or no? And
yeah, I thought the three wives and like the whole conspiracy thing behind them with Gakar.
Jakar?
Talking about Soulmates.
Oh, we're talking about the other one. Oh, okay.
We were talking Race Through Dark Places, but the Three
Oh,
Wives was
with the,
Soulmates.
yeah, Soulmates. Oh, Race to Dark Places. Oh, the one right before. Yeah. Yeah, I like the Telepaths, and then the leader was that one guy from Stargate. He was like one of the native kids on Stargate.
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah.
He's like he's like a French actor.
I don't know.
I don't know where he's from, but he did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was good. Everybody was good in this episode. Again, it's for me. This episode is more about what it's going to add to what is about to come, rather than where it is currently. You know, as a standalone episode, I thought it was all right. You know.
And what about you, Arwen? Since you're new to the panel, and we're not just focusing on Talia, because I don't want to keep having Deanna Troy on my screen. I'm sorry.
Okay. And Race Through Dark Places. Okay. I mean, these telepaths I find pretty interesting. This grouping. You know, I was like, okay, it shows the difference that they are just regular people from all walks of life, and they're in this really difficult situation with Psi Cor and being hunted and blah blah blah. But one of the things I really like about this episode is Franklin. I mean, we know that he can bend the rules where he sees it appropriate, and we know he's our beloved judgy Mr. McJudgy. We know that. But you actually see him here, you know, putting his money where his mouth is. These are people that need help, and he is bending some major rules to help them out with the Underground Railroad. Railroad. And I don't know. I got to know, really, I was more interested in his involvement than Talia's, because we know Talia's going to get involved and yada yada. But also without doing any spoilers, because I know we don't want to do spoilers. But one of the things I love at the end is when she's seeing Bester off. You know, goodbye, Bester, go away, and he turns around and he gives her that look, and knowing where she ends up in her story, that look, the second time I watched this through, had way more significance.
Well, he knows.
Like,
he knows.
Wow.
He was a part of the whole
know.
thing. He knows. That's the story within the story, and within the story, because he knows that is the next big Babylon 5 secret, and it is just it is it's huge.
And I loved seeing Delenn in her Earther clothes. That scene with her and Sheridan in the restaurant, and he's like, "Excuse me, do you mind?" When she's getting like, you know, the male gaze is on her from. Oh my God, I just love that.
They were like Cleve Barbie pretty much, because it was like there was one of those sexy dress that had just enough of the window, like Power Girl, and everyone just stopped eating, going, "Damn." But the one thing we also forgot, though, actually links of when it comes to telepaths in both episodes, is that we also get to introduce to Talia's ex-husband.
The empath.
That's another thing. And the dude that was like, "Do you want to hug, Mr. Garibaldi? Are you a master of hugs?" And then when I heard that line or something like that, I was like, "Oh damn, it's going down."
Yeah. So for those aspects, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this episode.
Well, now I don't know how many of you have actually made it far enough to some of the books that were released, but I will say the one more thing about this episode: the tit for tat between Bester and Garibaldi that they have in his office. You are definitely going to see that again, but it'll be repeated in a different sort of way in the final novel that they have, because there's a series of novels that they're going to come out with, and there are 3 novels dealing with the entire history of the telepaths and their time on Earth, leading from, I'd say, the 20th century all the way to a week after the events of the final episode. And that's where the next conversation, the next time you see Garibaldi and Bester together, and it's a very similar conversation, but the outcome is going to be way different.
They start cuddling.
Yeah, you can go with that one.
Yeah. Well, almost kind of, sort of, with different motivations at one point.
Don't make eye contact. Don't make telepathic contact. Don't make any type of contact.
Let's just say Bester picked on the wrong mundane.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It is. Let's just say Garibaldi's going to get the last laugh, and yeah.
Now, the one thing I found hilarious when we're talking about Delenn in general, when it comes to her stuff, and we're going back to Soulmates, and honestly, Soulmates was hilarious for one reason. She's like, I have an emergency right now. Can you please come down, Ivana, and help me? And the door opens, and it just looks. It's literally like she got attacked by all the Florida's humidity and a cone, and everyone lost.
It's like Delenn's becoming a teenage girl.
I spent 5 minutes chasing fleas out of that head.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it this way. This is something, that she's never really had to work with before. So, if you think a completely different alien species, and they're not known for having hair at all, so now she suddenly has hair.
Or cramps.
Yes.
Why'd you ruin it? Why'd you ruin it? That was really person later on. He's like, if you have any problems, come to me. Well, have you ever had cramps before? And then Ivana's just going, what the fuck? I'm out. Elevator.
All the people she goes to, it's Ivanova. Ivanova's like, oh my God.
I would like to sum up that scene as soon as it loads very easily. But those moments are what make this series when you get little interactions like that. And like, this is not the real Delenn. The real Delenn, this is Ambassador Delenn. The real Delenn is this. Fuck this and this. And fuck this too. Fuck everything. Fuck this. I can watch this all day because her face is like shut out like the trolls from Ernest Scared Stupid. Slim Jim. Wow. Okay, I gotta stop that now. Back to the wiener. But before we get into that, there was a $5 super chat from Gogo13, and he says, with getting the last laugh, does that include Crisco covered? I will hurt you. Crisco covered cake. Asking for a friend, Crisco, grift card, fat cake, and laughy faces. Well, Gogo really doesn't want to be a man anymore. And with that, I am going to give you, sir, what should we give you? I know. We'll give you something new. There you go, Go. Now shut up. And we have Ironcaster in the chat. Good ratings. Greetings. We have Thomas Gilkey from a long way saying hail. How you doing?
Hail.
And Brightest Day has come yet. I'll heard. I'll testify. That's a threat. Who's a threat? Okay, you can go back to your darkest night. And does that hurt? Oh, because they were talking about the enzyme. Remember the enzyme? Yeah, we usually just burn all the skin off every day. I'm like, is that what you do to your hair? Surprised you're not bald. But yeah, we're going back. We were on the bad hair day, and we just got totally sidetracked by Gogo.
Derailed.
That again, it's the more personal aspects that really help separate this entire show from a lot of other television shows, especially at this same time period when it's being broadcast originally. Again, it's J. Michael Straczynski and the writing staff and the actors. It's another perfect relationship in that respect, and shows why Babylon 5 is Babylon 5. So,
I agree.
Definitely. And that ensemble is so tight.
Yeah.
So tight.
Well, it's a sign of a good show when people that were on it will come to, unfortunately for them, each other's funerals, but they remained friends up until the end. All of them did. They'd talk with each other. They go, it was going to cons wasn't going to just, make a few bucks by selling a few pictures. It was going to visit with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, it's having seen some of them interact. Yeah, they truly were friends. Still are friends. They love to hang out. They love to go to dinner with each other. It was amazing to see all of them hang out. At least the few that I was around. So
I'm sorry, Brightest Day. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. You bring up a good point before I read Mr. Tickletrunk. Do you remember when Lennier walked in on Ivanova and Delenn, and she has all the hair curlers and tinfoil all through her hair, and he's like, "Are you okay? Does that hurt?" I'm like, "No, it's actually quite therapeutic." I'm like, "Until you get near a magnet." That's what you're saying right now. Sorry about that. Sorry about the looking at the hair curlers. Does that hurt? Delenn is oddly relaxing moment. Stick in my head, because if you don't know anything about hair, it almost looks like a torture device. It does. I agree with you. I don't really wear curlers though. I shave. Other than that, okay. So now that we've made fun of some of the funniest parts, there's probably more to come. Were there any moments within, let's go with Soulmates first, that stuck out to people? Like, I know we got introduced to Londo's 3 wives. We also got introduced to his conniving mannerisms as he comes back and just literally makes Jakar have migraine after migraine throughout the episode, which was my favorite part. And Tickle Trunk comes in with a touche, sir. Well, thank you. And this will be for you and Brightest Day, because Brightest is complaining. There you go. Where do you want to go with first? This is, any memorable parts in Soulmates that just stood out to you that made you love the episode a little bit or a little bit more?
Well, for me, go ahead.
No, from an earlier episode when Londo was talking about his wives, we finally get to meet, was it plague, famine, and pestilence?
Yes, famine, pestilence, and death. Yes, finally, in the flesh.
You can tell the real fans when they know that joke.
I think that, look, from this point on, any real humorous stuff with him is something that I look forward to. The ability as an actor to be able to go for both comedy and drama and be able to turn on a dime and do that is a gift. Again, I just give it up to that entire cast, because pretty much all of them have the ability to do it. And when you get in really good guest stars who help to support that and bring that out, it just, oh wow, it's a feast. This is really what Babylon 5 is. It's a feast. You really get into the show. If you are interested in just acting, this is a really good example of how to do it. So
that big painting of him is disturbing.
It was very lopsided when that scene came in. It's like, why is Londo's head so big? It was really weird. But Keith has a good point. We don't get many shows in general that not only have the cast and crew friends both on the screen and off the screen. You don't see that friendship within their acting and how they can play off another character, especially when we're looking at things like Discovery or recent shows when it comes to like Disney Plus stuff. It seems very they're there as the role, but they're still the person that is playing the role. They're not actually that character anymore. There's no synchronicity between both the part and the human, and it's been lost, I guess, over the last few years. Maybe
between like Londo and Gakar, it's like it's like you don't know where they're standing sometimes because they lie so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, but also those particular actors have a huge stage background. You can tell that,
oh yes.
There is in the first season. I love the Centauri parties, and Londo comes up to the table, and he goes, "You're very cute for a Mollari, and you're cute too." And he points to Garibaldi and says, "We're all cute, and I'm cute too. But in purple, I'm stunning." That was all made up on the fly. That was not in the script. He did that, and they said, well, "That was really good. We're going to keep it." That's what kind of an actor he was.
In purple, I'm stunning. Oh my
purple,
god! Yes.
I'm stunning.
Peter Jurasik could come up. He definitely was a guy who could just on the fly work in something really good. And Andreas was also just an incredible performer. I had the opportunity to meet Andreas twice and found him to just be gracious and quiet and just, Wow.
Londo still thinks he's in. I agree, Iron Cash. That's very true. And Tickle Trunk comes in with Peter Jurasik is one of the most underrated actors I've ever seen. He's incredible. Yes, Keith, you got to fight for Tickle Trunk's love now. And I've only seen him in small parts outside of Babylon 5. Even in Tron, he dies in just a few minutes. But I think that's it. Like it's kind of like those character roles. Once you get the role that was meant to be yours, it's really hard to see you as anything else. Maybe that's what happened to Londo. But he was Londo, and Londo is him. He's the personification of a smart-ass gambler who still has a soul, if you look at it that way.
And him and Jakar, their interactions is like the perfect marriage between actors. I mean, when they're on screen, it's magnetic. The way the two of them play off of each other, they're amazing.
I am not the only one, but I think most people would agree they are the best two in sci-fi duo. Period.
They're the odd couple in space.
Yes.
I like those visions that he keeps getting.
Yes.
They are grumpy old men in space, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
He keeps getting those. He keeps getting those visions of the future when he's old.
Yeah.
Shane Nolan has a question. Is one of the books about the wives of Londo, the youngest wife, played a big future role?
Nah, they weren't really in it except for maybe one or two lines.
Yeah, I mean, they mainly just stuck to what Londo's post-Babylon 5 time was.
It does do a big, big fan service for Veer.
Yeah. Well, it's a natural progression given what was happening.
Right.
And, oh, man.
And the prophecy of the Techno Mage gets fulfilled, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or not Techno Mage, the Seer.
Majel Barrett?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just noticed something. Dave Darius in the chat. Steven, that's my son. He's the one who is watching this through for the first time.
Oh, hello, Dave.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I just noticed that. Yes, yeah. He is now. No. He's older. He's old enough for that.
Oh, good. Thank fucking
he
God.
is a total
I was going to say
B5
he had to have
convert.
been in grade school or something.
No, he's in his very early 20s, so he's fine.
Okay, so he's heard worse than
you have done well.
Okay. So then, since this is your son, right, and the mom, would you rate this show, like sharing it with another family, or especially in a younger generation? Does it actually still work, especially when it's coming from the 90s, from like related to now? Is it enjoyable?
Oh, absolutely. And that is the one thing that is so awesome, is that as many times as I've seen this, and he remembers it, he remembers bits and pieces from when he was little growing up, because my husband and I would watch this once a year practically, until he got sick. but it is as many times as I've seen it, to see it through someone's fresh eyes is amazing, because he's getting it. He sees these things and he's like, I get it now. I see this. I see that. And he's pointing things out to me that I'm like, oh yeah, I never thought about it that way before. So yes, watching it with someone who has never seen it, especially when they're like, yeah, I get what the hype is. I understand this. It's amazing. It really is amazing. We just started season 5 now, so.
I'll have to check with him to see if he's looking for a big inheritance and is just playing off of you.
I need to ask. Arwen, have you ever read any of the books connected to Babylon 5?
I have not yet. I got my husband the trilogy with Bester and oh my God, Garibaldi.
Yeah.
And I just found it again, and I'm like, okay, when we get to the end, now I'm going to read it. So I'm excited. I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, when you realize what the joke is.
Well, you can read the first 2 books and be okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Keith. Sorry.
At the end, though, when you realize there's kind of a Killing Joke type ending to that relationship in the book, in that there is a quote-unquote dark black humor at the very end. And you realize that ultimately the joke that has been played has been Bester all this time. And it is amazing.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it.
Well, at least burn through the first book.
And we have Colin P. Smith. Before I interrupt, sorry, 20 people in the chat. Good, hello, Colin P. Nice to see you. We also have Zach Seven jumping. Hey, how you doing? And of course, my mod Terry is also there as well as a member. Thank you so much. And Darius, you're all Dave Darius, DD. You're always welcome to watch and enjoy and swear. Feel free. But going back to that, I do love Londo and Jakar. We're going to say that again because I don't want to spoil anything about that. Bester's good in his own way. But he's also an idiot. He's pompous. I think that's his own downfall. He's so reliant on the Psychor and his abilities that he doesn't actually think outside of just not using those abilities. And that's what makes him blind to a lot of situations.
Well, especially what the book deals with, because he and the Psychor are actually searching for something or someone. And that's all I'm going to say.
Waldo.
All I'm going to say. That's all I can say without spoiling. Massive. But, yeah.
I agree. All right. So where do we want to go next? Or does anyone else have a favorite part? Because I know we've been talking more about Drunk Londo. But if we're going to Soulmates, I actually have a great question. Out of all 3 of the signs of the Armageddon, which wife did you like the most?
Timov. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's a ball buster. I love her.
Yeah. Jeebus?
Yeah, I liked it too because she's the only one that would actually save his life, but she didn't want him to know.
Well, of course it won't. Yeah, makes sense. But I think that's why Londo loves her so much, is due to the fact that what's the saying? Keep your enemies close, but your enemies closer. It's like keep the honest close. But keep the what was it? I can't say it more. It's like you keep the blunt ones closer than you would the people that are yes men, because the ones that are blunt are going to tell you how it is, whether it's negative or positive, and at least you know where they stand because they never change. They will always be that person. The other 2 wives just had a fake smile on and tried to manipulate with either sexual wiles or other weird crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no guile with her. He knows exactly where he stands. He knows she's not gonna run around with Jakar on the side like Mario there. Woo! And he likes his foreign women, doesn't he? He really does.
Oh,
no. Yeah, he definitely likes to get his tentacles sometimes in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we're going tentacles. I have 9 penises. The entire culture is built on social climbing. I do agree. And of course, Colin P. Smith says, and of course, look who he ends up at the end of the Centauri Prime trilogy. I'm not going to spoil that too much. And Timov, as well. Honest Centauri, not many of those. No, because they're all doing one thing, trying to get their name, trying to get the power, and they will go to any lengths to get it. And that's eventually, as we see as the series progresses, that it leads to assassinations, back deals, riots, fires, and siding with an enemy that eventually could put your whole planet in jeopardy. It's they don't think. I think they think more of themselves than they do of a whole population. And that's kind of relatable with what's going on with the way we are in our world. Everyone's worried about their own problems and what they can get out of it rather than trying to solve one problem at a time for everyone. And I think we got to work on that. Not to sound preachy or anything, because I'm fucking not perfect. I mean, everyone depressed right now. Looking ahead, spoilers, Bester's reaction to Byron's final scene is very emotive, I believe. And Darius says Bester can get pretty overconfident at times. Yeah, I agree. And with that, let's get into more discussion. Oh, wait, we have one more. I agree. It was great to see which wife Londo picked in the end. Perfect choice, and it was great to see him play them off throughout the episode. Yeah, he's always 3 steps ahead. He's literally a chess player. Agreed. Awkward silence again, brought to you by Fat Steven. Says something too real, everyone shuts the fuck up. Tune in next week where I have the rest of my conversation with myself and my mic and my ego.
Okay, so, hi.
No, I'm just kidding.
She's back.
Go ahead.
What?
Out of the 3 wives, I don't know if you heard the question. Which one did you like the most?
I did. Okay, never mind. I messed up again. Okay. Well then, Jeebus liked Tim off. Pretty much everyone liked Tim off at this point, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Well, she was honest. Degar, however you pronounce her name, was a walking lie, and Marielle was a knife waiting to hit you in the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate.
The thing is, if we're going back to this, the way it's linked is that the ex-husband of Talia is the one who brought the artifact in, right? Isn't it kind of weird that the one wife actually knew what it could have been, and how it seems just to coincidentally fall into place? Does anyone else find that a little weird, like a plot hole in a way, or do you think they actually knew each other and this is just something they never actually brought a story with?
Well, there's the subtle hints that this was actually planned by her and him the whole time, and he decided to make a pit stop there and get a twofer, get paid for the artifact, and visit with the telepath.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's go on to something else. We've gone 42 minutes so far into Soulmates, and out of let's rate it. Kate, do you have a favorite wife?
I don't know. Yeah, never mind. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Then out of 10, how would you guys rate Soulmates as an episode before we're going to race through the dark places, unless someone else has something to add? 1 being crap, 10 being I would watch again.
8.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely with Londo and his wives and Delenn's situation, definitely an 8. The stoner stuff, don't care.
Okay. What about you, Jeebus?
I'd give it a 7. I mean, because there's better episodes. I mean, because this is right before it really gets good.
Mm-hmm. It's like the cusp. What about you, Adaga?
Well, as a standalone, want to watch again, 8 or 9, and it's part of the whole series. Like Jeebus was saying, it doesn't add a ton to the overall arc. A little bit about Londo's, so it'd have to be a solid 8. But just on its own, a little bit higher than that because the acting was great, the comedy was great.
Yeah,
I agree. And what about you, Kate?
I think she's busy doing something. It sounded like she was busy working on something.
And Keith, how about you?
Yeah. I said 8 originally. So.
It's about a 7.5. It has its little niche, but it's definitely not the main reason why I watch Babylon 5. And pretty much we're getting the cusp of that by the next week's episode where we choose 2 more. But it's
stool.
Yeah.
It's your tickle trunk. You know what? The thing about Keith is I remember seeing him. For me, he will always be the character that he played on The Equalizer, which is one of the few times he's never played a bad guy. I like that character. In fact, I like that show a lot. The Equalizer was an amazing show for CBS, and I wish it had stayed on at least another season or 2. You know, yeah.
Yep, Keith's a fan of Queen Latifah. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the thing about that version, it never made sense to me. I mean, I like Queen Latifah, but none of that made any sense to me. You know, I would have.
Yeah, I like her as a rapper. It's just she's not really that great in all her roles.
I would have taken her as someone who was inspired by Robert McCall and decided years later to try to use her own sense of right and just use her own sense of right and wrong and fairness rather than trying to adapt it in a new way, because it doesn't. You know, the original Equalizer series, in my opinion, holds up as one of the best series of the time. And it was more than just a show about a guy who helped people. It was a guy that was fighting through his past and was trying to come to terms with where he was now that he no longer is someone who has to work in a job where he has to work in secret and do things, you know, kind of like a James Bond sort of way. And so it's dealing with the after effects of living that kind of life.
He was like the gentleman A-team.
Yeah, it was very well done. And the episodes with Robert Mitchum were even cooler. So that entire show was amazing in my opinion. And then the Denzel Washington adaptation, I like those too.
I've never watched Equalizer, so I have no say in this at all.
Oh, dude, if you've never seen Equalizer, it is what if James Bond were to make it to be a man in his 60s and found himself basically without a job. And so he ends up deciding to retire in the United States. And it turns out that he was in a relationship with a woman. She got pregnant and had a child and never told her son who her dad really was.
Really?
So now he's living with, you know, having this adult son who's in college and also trying to kind of make amends for a lot of the really bad stuff that he did when he was working to free the free world. And so becoming the Equalizer was his way of kind of trying to make up for a lot of the things that he did and helping honest people. And in many respects, people who ran afoul of that old life, people who ran afoul of people who actually are in control, who are actually people from that old life. And so, you know, it was a very well put together series. In fact, reminiscent of how it relates to a previous series that Edward Woodward had done. And you could say that was a continuation of that show. Much the same way that many people thought that The Prisoner was a continuation of the Secret Agent series. You know, it's kind of like that. And yeah, The Equalizer was a different kind of show. It operated on a whole different level. And for me, watching that show and seeing an actor of Edward Woodward's caliber give the kind of performances that he did, all that stuff being an older man makes sense. And that's the reason why I was really... That's one of the downsides about the original version of John Wick, because that's the way John Wick was conceived. The guy who actually came up with the idea of John Wick originally had John Wick as being a man in his 60s. So
I'm going to check that out. But Tickle Trunk says, off topic, I hope everyone here has seen The Prisoner.
Keanu Reeves is like 10 years off.
Yeah, yeah, he is. But this was meant to be more of a guy that was much older, you know, and having him work through things. You know, I think Keanu thought that it would work a little bit better if you aged the character down a little bit. So, but The Equalizer, yeah, was definitely one of my favorite shows of the 80s. And it was a different kind of show because it was spies and other things, but done a different way. You know, the people who lived that kind of life, if the James Bond villains and stuff were real people and affected the lives of normal people, so especially when they tried to come after him, what would you do? You know, having the resources and everything that he had, how would you help someone whose child was missing or who was trying to escape an abusive relationship, and on and on and on? You know, yeah, The Equalizer show was really very well done. And the episode with Adam Ant was fantastic. One of my favorites. So,
Adamant, like goody two shoes Adamant?
Oh yeah. He played a really disgusting, vile guy who was protected.
I'm sold. I gotta see this.
But no, only for one episode. I mean, it was enough. He was. I mean, what happened to him at the end of that? It was like, yeah, you earned that, buddy.
Awesome. We'll have to check this out.
It was well done. CBS did a fantastic job, and only because Edward Woodward had health problems. He had heart problems. He ended up having a heart attack and got replaced for a few episodes by Robert Mitchum playing a completely different character. But it all works because the lead character had created this sort of like group of people that would help him out, all of whom worked in his former profession. Cleaners or other agents and stuff that he would use, like if a child went missing, well, who better to contact than former agents to help track stuff down?
Awesome. Okay.
It is a great show.
I will believe you. It's just I haven't seen that, nor have I seen The Prisoner, as Tickle Trunk was mentioning earlier. I don't know if it's a good series or not.
The Prisoner, you will enjoy it. You will enjoy The Prisoner. Trust me, you will.
Okay. I need to write these things down because I got to check these out.
Oh, you've never seen The Prisoner either, Arwen?
No. Where have I been? Under a
They
rock?
did a remake of The Prisoner.
All right. I'm writing them down as I speak.
The Prisoner, let me just give you a really short, and a secret agent decides he's going to quit. No explanation, no real reason. He decides, I'm done, I'm out of here. He goes back home to pack up and leave, right? He basically passes out because they gassed his home. And he wakes up in his home again. Turns out they built an exact replica of his home in a special place called the Village.
Ugh.
Everyone that lives there gets a number.
They did a Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode, I think.
Yep. And so you never really hear his name, but his constant thing is he definitely wants to escape. But he also wants to find out who's number 1 because he's given the number of 6. So he's only known as number 6. And he's constantly trying to figure out ways of getting away from these people. Because it's weird where he's living. I mean, just weird, but, you know. Whew.
It's like a Jim Steranko fantasy.
Okay, well, I'm going to have another marathon here. All right.
Both shows are now all the episodes are available on DVD and or Blu-ray. And Patrick McGowan did a phenomenal job with that show. I mean, that show, The Prisoner, changed television and how we watch television, because without that show, you would never have gotten anything close to like X-Files or Twin Peaks or...
Okay, and those I've seen and I love. So
yeah, this is a dark show, but it's kind of like, if you take the kind of weirdness of the Avengers spy series of the 60s, and this show was towards the end of the 60s, and combine it with shows that are they have very political topics and topics about individuality versus government. That's really some of the things that show got into. And once you become a fan of this show, you start to recognize how people put little callbacks to that one show in a lot of different projects. You've heard Bester say, "Be seeing you." That's from The Prisoner. Yep. That's from The Prisoner television series.
Okay.
That's what they would often tell number 6, "Be seeing you," and do the little tip of the hat.
Colin P. Smith says, at FAT-STEVEN, audio company Big Finish have an audio play series of The Prisoner. Although I understand it's somewhat different.
Yeah, it's probably based on a lot of the newer stuff, but the original Prisoner series, all of those episodes are available on DVD. And again, Patrick McGowan, who, gosh, did an incredible job with that. Wow, just a groundbreaking series that when you look at how many people in Hollywood are actually fans of that show, oh my gosh.
They did, although E. Clay Thompson says R&B and Az did a great The Prisoner breakdown by episode. They did, but I didn't want to watch all of their stuff because it would just either spoil the show or it was confusing to me. But they thoroughly enjoyed it, so I will definitely have to give it a look when I have a chance. And
well, they did that remake with Jim Caviezel.
Jim Caviezel, yeah.
It was like a mini-series.
Yeah. Here's a little something. Now, you didn't really hear it from me, but you might be able to find the pilot episode of The Prisoner in a place called TubeU. Don't quote me. But
are you speaking Pig Latin again?
Maybe.
Ite, sote, tube, ue. No, da,
Allegedly, TubeU.
Oh, allegedly. Can't even say that right. And Tickle Trunk confirms you can find most of The Prisoners on YouTube. Well, we are prisoners to YouTube. R&B and Az's show was amazing. Their watch order is the best one in my opinion. They were careful not to spoil anything as well. It would just confuse me not knowing what was actually going on, and I think it would take away if you've never seen it. But yeah, I will definitely have to watch it and rewatch theirs. But getting back to
yes,
Babylon
Oh, do I wake up now?
I thought we turned into Space Jam: A New Legacy. We were just using Babylon 5 characters for the properties and films.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. It's cool. It shows your passion. It's fine. It's great. And we're going to go into a race through dark places, and we'll start with how'd you guys like this episode? Let's go from the bottom up, and we'll start with Arwen, then Jeebus, then Adega, who's finally awake, Kate, and then, of course, Keith, and he'll go back into prisoner.
We're rating this one? Is that what?
Not really rating, no. Did you enjoy the episode pretty much? Was it something that you actually could stick through the whole thing and not be bored? I should have been a little bit more
I did, and again, not to give a spoiler, but I like these telepaths a hell of a lot more than ones we'll see in the future. Can I just say that? That's all I'm going to say about that. And again, I really liked getting to know more about Franklin and his character. And it wasn't one of my favorites, but it's always good seeing someone get one over on Bester.
I agree with that. What about you, Jews?
Oh, I liked it. I thought, at first I thought Franklin was going to say that he was a telepath.
Like the I'm a Spartacus kind of thing?
Oh, no, because when he showed up and then, Sheridan met with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was. I thought he was going to say that he was one of the telepaths. I didn't think that I wasn't really expecting him to say that he's running the Underground Railroad for the telepaths.
Makes sense. That's a good idea. That's actually nice. They could have went that way, but then it would have kind of gets contradicted later on because his lines previously, he would have already been able to predict how other races were feeling if they were eventually, like if he was being able to read their mind or even scan them at a minimum level. What about you, Adega?
There is so much I wish I could say about this. It's going to have to be reserved for later when I can explain backstories of the telepaths. I loved it because of a couple of things. First off, you get to see how dark a lot of the Psi Corps really is, where they could kill without any repercussions. There's no law that prevents the higher-ups from doing what they darn well please, whenever they want to. And they don't obey even their own rules about not scanning people. They just do it whenever they want. But it also puts the thing about the Corps, and it was explained, you kind of have to infer a lot of this, but when the leader of the group, I can't remember his name, he starts telling Talia, you put on the badge, you put on the gloves, they keep you separated, and here at the end, and you have the perfect image up, they are truly at their most human and their most free when they're together. Mm-hmm. And when they're in the Corps with the gloves on and with the badge on, they become cogs in a machine with no value other than to keep the machine running. I thought it was really cool how they did that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
And Kate, what about you? Oh, I guess she's still AFK. What about you, Keith?
Oh, this is a very well done episode. I did kind of like the fact that Franklin was running the Underground Railroad. I mean, I didn't expect it when I first saw it, and it came as kind of a shock, but it fits with his personality. I like the way that Talia got involved, although, again, considering what's coming, it may not have been a great thing. Yeah, I agree. Anytime anybody could one-up Bester, but yeah, Bester's going to get his. Oh, yes. Bester is going to get his. So yes, it's a really good episode.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's showing that people not even the Centauri or other races have ulterior motives and plans. It also shows that even the crew of Babylon 5, they're supposed to be regulation and following by the book, especially if you're a Dr. MD, have their own secrets and they're willing to go out of their way to protect life. And I think in a way this is Franklin's way of protecting life that nobody wants to give to the Psi Corps. The Psi Corps is looked upon as evil, invasive, and very manipulative when it comes to getting their way.
Yeah,
and it's not just beating Bester; it's using a mind game on a telepath and winning without them knowing. And it's also related back to a past episode. If we're going to look at this, to I think it was Ironheart. If you remember that episode where the gift was given to Talia.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, one of the things that you find out with Bester is that Bester is on a personal mission. That certain older members of the Psi Corps are kind of looking for the great savior of the telepaths.
Yeah,
that's who he's seeking out, ultimately.
And before you go to your next line, please prepare your ears.
Oh, yeah, really? Because that's just.
All right. Well, we'll do it short. I changed it up for you. Hey, guys, what's going on? I apologize for being late. I am literally the worst person in the world. Not only am I extraordinarily late for this show, I also scheduled 2 other shows at the exact same time and completely forgot I was supposed to be here. And then I had to tell those folks that I was supposed to be here and still showed up late. I attempted to watch an episode last night while I was eating dinner and doing meal prep, and then I kept on getting these errors. And then all of a sudden I have all these text messages from like Comcast and stuff. I'm like, why can I not get into HBO Max? And then I came back home and I'm like, wait, let me try the other browser. Oh, it works fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, this level up episode was brought to you by Names of Destruction. Always late, even for the invite sets an hour beforehand. Thank you, Meme.
Exactly.
Nice to have you.
How dare you get started on time?
Yeah, how dare I keep a schedule that's been going on for weeks.
Okay, I'm going to totally clip this for like my daily show. Memes apologizes. I'm sorry. Why? Because you're not supposed to say you're sorry on the internet.
Do it with a northern accent. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Some statute told us never to apologize.
It was at this point that I'm thinking that every super chat today is going to go towards buying a Timex for memes.
Oh, wait, you're monetized. That's right. You can totally give Steven money. I like cupcakes.
Oh, my God. I'm not giving you a cupcake. Colin Smith has a question before I get into asking memes a question. Then again, have we found out about Franklin's actions during the Earth Minbari War yet? I don't think so.
No, that comes out with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The movies that might be added to HBO Max at some point.
Because somebody kind of cool, somebody that was a little tidy today, went ahead and did what they said they were going to do and asked.
How dare they?
All right, Memes, you can now kiss Keith if you want, because he's kissing back, and I moved him on top of you.
Well, this is the thing. No, we're on the show. I'm like, well, they have the series, they don't have the movies, and you were saying they tie things in. And we had also said that's like, you know what? There's a lot of things in the movie where you really need to watch the series to get them all tied in. But I also asked them, like, if you're just coming from like a 30,000 foot view, if you don't know anything about Babylon 5, would it be a way that might get some people interested? Maybe it's not for everybody, but some people, they watch it like, all right, maybe there's something to the show. I want to learn all the different little Easter eggs that I don't actually know what's going on, because I know, at least for me, that got me into different series and stuff like Naruto and stuff. It's like, all right, I grew up with Dragon Ball Z. We had these different animes. I liked Yu Yu Hakusho. I thought that was very fun. I totally didn't finish it. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh, on Death Battle, they had like Rock Lee versus this other person from like airbending, whatever. And they also had like an Earth Jutsu or something. And then they had a battle. I'm like, wait a second, Rock Lee? Let me look at this. Oh, and I watched the fight between him and Gara of the Sand. I'm like, oh my God, this series is fucking phenomenal. It's literally Dragon Ball Z combined with Harry Potter. You go to ninja school. You learn how to do cool stuff. So I'm just saying, if they add it on to HBO Max because I said nice things. That'd be cool.
I hope we do.
We go from prisoner to ninja school. Gotcha.
Yeah, we went from but memes. Before we end up talking about Teletubbies, what did you think of the episode Soulmates and A Race Through Dark Places? If you've watched any of them,
I literally just finished them. The Soulmates one was actually kind of fun. I mean, as Kate would say, I mean, really isn't surprising. But then again, it is a 90s show, and you're playing through it from different angles. And I'm like, all right, well, you got two different love interests. You got the crazy psychic that's like, oh, I'm totally not a psychic. And it's like, well, what if the treatment actually worked? And it's like, he asks, and people do things. I'm like, oh, so he has an unlimited charm spell on him. But it's kind of not detectable because he's like, you should do this because I'm smiling at you and you're my friend. But you just look at all this, I'm like, all right. And then, oh my God, the freaking, the dynamics are very interesting because I guess, what was it? Not the Minbari, but the Dracula people and stuff. The Centauri, yeah. It's basically, all right, the crazier and higher level dude you are, the crazier your hair. And then it's like, oh, if you're a beautiful woman, it's like, all right. I have no idea if that's the case. That's just what I'm just like, all right, Londo's hair is bigger than the other guys. Probably because he's older. There's probably these other factors here. Oh. But just the different, the way they had it set up, and even Londo's choice at the end, it's like, that makes so much sense. That's the wisest thing. It's like, you're going to keep the person that's actually going to, like, tell you the truth. How dare you? She might also hit you with a vase, but apparently you like that. Consent matters.
She wasn't the one that hit him with the vase.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Vase was pretty specific.
The vase was the other one, the one that would always agree. Because remember, she said like, "Oh, you hit him with the vase," and then she was like going like, "Oh, but I was young." And then
that was when she first kind of came in there. Okay, yeah, I apologize. I dimmed the light on my Mac at that point because it was mobile and my battery was running out. I didn't quite see that well. I apologize.
That's cool.
I didn't think somebody would actually point out something that specific, but thank you. You were paying attention.
Because the one that would always just agree if anything, and like the walking lie, she was the one that was like saying that like
Daguerre, yeah.
Yeah, Daguerre. She was the one that hit him with the vase, and then she says that like, oh, that she was young, and they were like, that was like last month.
She was a highly dramatic one, the dramatic but loving one. Actually, the one that actually gave him the transfusion was that the one he ended up with?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean that makes. Did she bribe him with her blood?
No.
Because did that like make them closer?
No, she never told him.
She wanted him to know.
She gave specific demands saying, "Don't tell him I gave him the transmission." Sorry, the transmission.
But I don't know. Londo's like really smart, so he might have like figured it out just by Franklin telling him.
Well, to be fair, the other two were either extraordinarily just always lying to him or just making up some fantastical story and then kind of agreeing with him. It's like she is the only one that actually like just told him exactly how it was, and I mean apparently actually gave a dang.
Because like Londo says, at least I know exactly where you stand. That's why you're still here. So that's all that matters. So you like this episode? Was this a 1 out of 10? What would it be?
I mean, wait, maybe like a 7. Maybe like a 7.39. I mean, you're not facing any crazy aliens or anything. I mean, it's an interesting story. Of course, they have the two different relationships there and everything, and you're starting to learn a bit more about the Psi Corps and everything. It's like, oh, Psi Corps. Not everything is as it seems. It seems. Imagine my shock. But this is some of the things that we're kind of getting hints at, and for those of us that have watched through it, different parts in the series, you're like, oh, there's something going on here. I wonder what that could be. And then what was the episode before this? That was actually kind of cool. I give that maybe a little bit more. See, it's hard to say. It's hard to say because it was very obvious. It's like, oh my God, all these bad things are happening to these people. There's something shady. There's illicit activity. You go to your commanding officer. I thought you were behind this. No, this one wasn't me. It's like, oh, well, if bad things are happening to people, who actually, if anyone, would technically at least be able to say they had a responsibility for it? I don't know. Maybe your doctor. So I'm like, and they may have hinted at it. It's like, well, I have an extra cot. Well, I requisitioned it for this and everything. It's like, even the captain doesn't have his own cot. So it's like, all right, well, you laid out something that was novel. It was something new. So it's like, well, of course Doc is going to be involved. It's like, why else? Excuse me, Commander. It's like, these people would like to meet with you. Why the heck does the doctor know? It's like, all right, well, some crazy ass stuff has been happening to these people. It's like, all right, well, that makes sense to me. And it's like, let's all join hands. And it's like, oh, of course. And as soon as somebody got shot, I'm like, all right, they're just not murking everything. This guy's literally under a genjutsu. I'm like, oh, that's exactly what happened. And the commander's like, well, since there's nothing illegal going on, I'm going to go on my way. I mean, it is very... I mean, I like this stuff. It's a more straightforward Hercules, because even with like Hercules and Xena, there would be some more twists. It's like, when Joxer died, that was a sad day. I'm not going to lie. That was a sad day. It was a long time coming. But when Joxer the Mighty fell, I was sad.
That was beautiful, memes.
I'll give this like a 7.69.
I want to take my panties off, man.
I got a few tears.
Yeah, and that was great. And we see Dadman and Polymuse being in the chat, but yeah, this episode I think was a little bit better than Soulmates in a way. It focused a lot on like getting Bester coming back, or Chekhov as most people know him, and we're also getting the fact that you can now reach a point that you can beat the Psi Corps. And I think this was a turning point that telepaths don't have to be afraid of the Psi Corps, and that there are other means to be living as yourself without genjutsu, as memes puts it.
Yeah, my son says that Chekhov had an Anakin moment and became Bester. That's the connection.
Which one was that guy?
The bad
The
Psi
evil
Cop.
Psi Cop?
Oh, the guy that was the suit.
Walter Koenig.
I know of Brian Keating. He said he'd come on my
Tell
show.
him hello.
Oh, my apologies. No, I don't know. He's an astronomer. He studies the stars. Oh, look, I tied it in. There we go. Dun-dun-dun.
I love you, memes. Sometimes I really do. I don't know what's going on anymore. So back when Hammond invited all those scientists to Jurasik Park, and we got that great mute. Well,
I can bring it up if you want. Continue.
no, I don't. No, it's all good. But
I have to make up for lost time. I've been very tardy. I didn't contribute to the class. I apologize, Keith. I apologize.
It's all good.
Anyway, Zach said, I think he's going to say it best. Memes is that student that is so well liked that the teachers change history to match his answers, and everyone is cool with it.
Dude, history was amazing. Dude, I had like the best history teacher in high school and everything. He would be going over. It's like, well, you had to call this or everything. He's like, stand over here. So you're marching. He starts marching. It's like, shank. Justice. I learned that William Rehnquist was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. That I always missed that answer until he passed away and or left. I apologize. Rest in peace, Justice Rehnquist.
And for that, I give everyone the wiener.
It's hypnotizing.
Isn't it?
It is.
Looks like my friend.
Your friend needs some help then.
No, he's a pickle.
He's a pickle Rick?
Well, his name is nerdy.
Colin P. Smith says, back in the 90s, we had a sci-fi show called Space Cadets, and one episode had Claudia Christensen and Walter Koenig as team captains, and they barely mentioned Bester. Okay. And Dadman Walking says, wow, my Fortnite guy made it onto the no, that's not your key. What? No. It's not even close. You're wearing buns. There's definitely a difference. We're way off subject now. We just got everything thrown again. All right. A race through dark places. Is there any favorite parts people had? Because Memes just gave everything at once, and I appreciate him for that as he's laughing with his shirt on, waiting for
Oh, we hadn't done that yet. I apologize.
No apologize. You're good. Good. I'm glad you're here. Who wants to, anyone have anything to add of why or anything about this episode that we've missed that you want to bring up? Free floor. Let's see. I think we pretty much.
There's a little bit with Bester where he was led to believe that B5 actually kind of cooperated with him, which leads to him being a little bit more open for other things in the future, especially a couple of really big things, to where instead of turning to his own group or just dealing with stuff like he had most of his life on his own, he actually went to B5. So this was, even though they totally deceived him, it was a start of him thinking that he could use the people at B5 and get away with it.
Yeah. And that
yeah,
one
I
scene
agree with that.
And the one scene I gotta say when he was like, we have the dude in the chair to the point where he's like, and they're all saying that nursery rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb. And that's how they're training themselves, I guess, to fill their heads so they can't give away stuff. They can focus on something else rather than the answer that the Psi Corps or even their Psi Corps agents are trying to pull out. Was brilliant in a way, but you know, it also came from other shows. But the one scene right before he pops and the little bit of Kool-Aid comes out of the guy's mouth, he's like, I got it. Right as he died, his fading, or what was it? His dying memory betrayed him. And then he blows a kiss into the wind, like saying, huh, you don't fucking matter.
Yeah, he seemed to enjoy his work.
A little too much. Look at him right there. That's like an O face waiting to happen.
Yeah, some people get off on that stuff.
Colin P. Smith says, given Talia's eventual fate, her doing what she did leads to some potential questions. They do. And eventually, her own decisions, we're not going to get into spoiler, will lead her into a predicament that will hurt her in a lot of ways. And that sucks.
Well, to just go back to what Mr. Colin Man was thinking about B5, it's like, as far as he knows, he was essentially able to get away with, like, murking, like, a dozen, like, rogue, like, Psi folks and everything. And it's like, if you walk away and nobody's asking questions about all these bodies, it's like, I don't know. I might have even more questions if I was in that situation. It's like nobody's asking about this? That's rather odd. Maybe it's just me.
But that's where it comes back to this scene.
Can I throw something out about Talia?
Sure.
Yes, she is whiny. And when I watch it, I think, damn girl, what you're such a delicate flower. How are you doing the things that you're doing? But I think she's really in the first couple of seasons, besides Bester, obviously, our link with what a person who has been raised with, the Corps' mother, the Corps' father, blah blah blah. She's our example of what they are, of what a telepath is.
She's a straight
and yeah, and I think with the way that I believe they were trying to show is that here is someone who is totally sold out, that yes, they took me in when I was a kid, they clothed me, fed me, and I owe my allegiance to them. And then we see that allegiance, we see what she goes through, the things that she's supposed to do, and then we see that allegiance start to break down.
Is she wearing cat ears right there? Oh no, that's the doorway. Never mind. I saw what I wanted to see.
And it's unfortunate that she is not able to, like Adega said, with actors, they communicate, or they should communicate so much through their foreheads and their eyes, because the eyes are the windows of the soul. That's what we see when we talk to someone. That's when we get our first feeling, is that locked on communication, that visual. And she's not good at it. So she's, as the actress, is having a hard time getting that through. But I see what they were trying to do with her. They were trying to show someone who was like, yes, you know, I know the good of Psychor. Psychor is wonderful. Psychor did all these things for us, blah, blah, blah. And then we see what she really has to go through as a telepath. And we see that breaking down, and especially knowing where she's going and where she ends up. But it just doesn't work. It just makes it like, oh God, okay, we've got 10 more minutes of her whining on screen. Can we just move on? But I see what they were trying to do with her, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I thought I had Talia Winters. That's Deanna Troy. Same crying. My bad.
There she is. There she is.
But yeah, Keith, you're back. Does anyone else have anything to add before we wrap up? Because we've been going pretty much an hour and a half, and this has been a lot of things today.
I think part of that, maybe not necessarily making eye contact, but just kind of like being uncomfortable, because it's like she said, it's like just being able to just always know what's going on in a person's head, even if you don't necessarily want to, just being able to slip into there. It's like, yeah, that could probably be very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want to know what people are thinking? I mean, it'd be like talking to everyone would kind of be like me then, I guess. That'd be awful.
Well, you learn to block it out. They say they do things to, like, you block out the noise.
No, people usually just don't invite me on.
No, the telepaths.
Is it because you're late all the time?
I mean, that's probably a contributing factor as well, but it's, I don't know. Sometimes I disagree with people and we don't have to hate each other. And apparently that's a bad business model.
But there's too much energy wasted to hate people. If you just don't want to, you can't deal with them, you won't get along, just move on and pretend they're not there.
Especially if we're close to solving for universe. I think we're getting closer.
Yeah, we are. And all it takes is just making that universe on time, right, Memes?
Time is a social construct.
So, well, you're on a social construct right now.
Oh, okay. Just because the plank time seems to be the most fundamental, smallest unit for some reason, you'd think it would be closer to zero. I concede. Touche, good salesman. Touche.
It was at this point, chat, that we finally watched Means of Destruction slowly turn into Talia Winters.
I'd be all right with that.
All right. Anyone else? Keith, I know you were waiting in the back. You got anything to say? Kate, Adega, anyone have anything to add? Monkey Jeebas. Anyone?
Oh, good.
You know what? I've learned so much today, especially how, there are still some people that have never seen The Prisoner. I still can't believe that. That just blows my mind. But it's not upsetting. It's a new opportunity. And hopefully you guys will like what you see.
All I know is I'm pretty sure Mr. Tickle Trunk would also agree with us, because he's like, you're spreading the B5. This is good. It's a wonderful series.
Sorry about that. Colin P. Smith says, wasn't Talia who said that Bester did too many death scans, maybe went too far, so something didn't come back?
That was Lita in season 5. Now Talia may have said it, but I only remember Lita saying it. She was telling Garibaldi.
Supposedly, Memes of Destruction would make a beautiful woman, and all I can say is this.
Appropriate.
That was well played.
Thank you. Thank you, Talia of Destruction. Thank you. We also have Mr. saying, like, we were like Heaven's Gate, but with less bad Kool-Aid and no cat. What?
I think that was a reference to a cult.
Yeah, well, I don't know many cults that just drink Kool-Aid and chop off your wiener.
I think it was a situation. We shouldn't go into it here.
That had more to do with an asteroid and a few other things, but
Yeah. Nadia, you had something to add. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I did. All this talk of people missing out on The Prisoner from Keith. There's something you're missing out on, Keith.
Oh, no way.
That's a Psychor thingy, right?
It is.
You have a ring? You're in the Psychor? Nice to meet you.
Uh-oh. Hey, look, there's nothing that I have said this episode that I wouldn't
I also have the badge.
Mixed company.
He's a Psi Cop. Watch out.
Psi Cop.
What you gonna do when they scan your brain?
Oh my god, we should meme Psi into a Psi Cop. That would be hilarious.
All right, and Mr.
Tails.
Clown, where did you get those wonderful toys? And just because you said that, honestly, I think I'm just gonna throw this out there for you.
This town needs an enema.
There you go.
Hard to disagree with that.
I didn't know Stephen
Zach-
Walton was in the Screen Actors Guild.
No, that's the other thing. Zach Simmons says an asteroid, some recreational. How is castration recreational? What is with you people? Not
It's
for
the
me.
word.
Like, that's not recreational. It's like I put this on the chopping board. We got the Barbie head guillotine. We'll be right with you.
This is a cult that was able to get a bunch of people to dress up with new tennis shoes, brand new tennis shoes, and purple jumpsuits, and got them to castrate themselves and then eventually off themselves. So,
Oh, you're going back to the best. I thought you were talking about like Londo's like ascension party or something. I'm like, oh, did you know, get the part where
That was one heck of a party.
Be barefoot there. I'm like, I love these Centauri. They like feet too. I'm making assumptions. I don't know these things.
just Google all that. Just put all that into Google and see what comes up.
Centauri and feet.
No, the purple jumpsuits and the castration.
I mean, I'd rather do a Centauri and feet.
It actually relates to something also connected to Nichelle Nichols, because I think that was the cult where her, I think it's her son or her brother was a part of that. So.
Yeah, I read something about that. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
That was not as no, but if those we're gonna wrap up soon. If those who are wanting as, here you go. I'll just do it because this is
A FAT-STEVENSEAGAL with 2 Canadian. Drinker was so mean and mocked my fatness and movies. Ah, shut up, you fat fuck.
Happy now. There you go, Jay Nash. But with that, I think we're going to wrap up. I think next week we're going to do the next 2 episodes, which is going to be 8 and 9. No, yeah, 8. No, 8 and 9. I can't remember my own crap no more. I think it's 8 and 9. I have to double check.
7, 8, 9.
No, we just did 7. What?
No, we did 7 and 8.
Are you sure?
No.
Are you positive? We're on 9 and 10.
9 and 10.
See,
But,
9 and 10.
Good ones.
And Tickle Train says we got 27 votes. That's awesome. Likes are cool. Thank you very much for that. I'm glad everyone is enjoying it. We have a great show. We're not watching 7, 8, 9. Stop encouraging him. We'll get you a ball.
Wait, what? Oh, isn't that a character for like Star Trek?
No, 7, 8, 9 is a joke. Why is 7? Why is 8? Never mind.
Well, we're transitioning through the week, so it would have been 7, 8, 9, along with a 6.
But we're doing 9
and then 10. We do 10. I love you.
We're doing 9 and 10 next week. Well, he gets back to me for the Talia comment. And with that, I want to thank the panel, Kate, Adaga, Monkey Jeebas, Memes for finally showing up. And of course, Arwen, the new guest this week, and Keith. Is there anything you guys want to share, say out before we wrap all of this up? And I wonder why Memes is laughing hysterically internally.
All I know is I may have scooped Oprah. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Awkward. All right, then let's wrap it up. I want to thank everyone for being here today, like especially the panel. This got off the rails, back on the rails, then back off the rails, and then wherever the hell Memes went with ninjutsu. But I love every minute of it. Everyone in the chat, my mods, new members, everyone who's donated, it's been a great time. And with that, just remember, I forgot what I was going to say, but just remember I forgot what I was about to say. And let's have a good
one.
By the way, Memes was still late.
Oh, wait, Deadpool. Do we get chimichangas?
Only if you're on time. Thank you, chat. Thank you, panel. We'll see you next week while I figure out where the rest of my self-confidence went. Take it easy. Go rate somebody.